Hi guys, this is Greg from Mystery Honey. I hope you have an amazing day. Today I'm going to show you how to get rid of comb from the roof of a nucleus box. So sometimes, like today is the last day in March of 2025. And I'm just doing a little cursory thing, making sure people have got food. I've just come across one of my nukes and they've started to build comb in the roof. They do this because there must be a large nectar flow going on at the moment. I can't see any flowers really, so I don't know where they're getting it from, but they're getting it from somewhere because all of the hives here have a lot of nectar in at the moment. So they must have a high nectar flow and they must be running out of space in the actual nuke box itself. So there's only one way to stop this from happening. Generally, you have to give the bees more space. If you don't, then they'll build up in the roof and then they'll be too confined and then it'll spark off an early swarm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a fresh box of drawn out comb. Ta-da! So I'm going to go do that now. But what you don't want is the comb to remain in the roof. It's very easy for the queen, especially if this is going to be a nuke that you're selling. It's very easy for the queen to get into the comb up there, and then when you're transferring the frames into the nuke box of the person that you're selling the bees to, the queen can sometimes get stuck in the comb up there, and then you've sold a nuke box without a queen. It's always important to find the queen before you sell any nuke box, because the last thing you want to do is sell an empty nuke box, because that'll cause trouble for the person that you're selling it to, and you'll end up getting a bad reputation. So it's good to make sure that you get rid of this comb now before it starts getting too big and too hard to deal with. Okay? Right, let's get cracking. So this is the nuke in question. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and tap all the bees out of here as much as possible, and then I'm going to take the lid away and remove the comb from that there. Also to do that, I'm going to stick the other box on top so the bees don't feel like the whole brood area is open to the elements while I deal with this box. Okay, so I'll show you what it looks like. As you can see, it looks like lots of comb being built. It's full of nectar as well, so this may be a sticky job. There's also some on top of the box as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and get rid of some of this comb on top so no bees are crushed when I put the next box on top. So just take your time, be very gentle, the bees will move out your way. If you get a bee and it looks like it's stuck, just nudge it and it'll fly off. Just with your nails. If you do any nudging at all, make sure you use your nails, because bees can't sting through nails. So as you can see, no bees hurt. Slowly but surely, be as gentle as you can. They may get a bit soggy from a bit of nectar going on them, but generally they're okay. Right, so if they look like they're a bit stuck, like these guys, just knock them and they'll fall out. They're fine. There you go. And if you want them to budge out the way a little bit faster, just blow on them. It helps better if you've got minty fresh breath. So if you've just brushed your teeth, that tends to work best at getting rid of the bees when you blow on them, I found. Oh, so yeah, good view. There's a bee there. But look, no bees harmed in doing that whatsoever. So that's good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put that box on top, and then we're going to deal with this other one in a second. So I'm going to stick this on top. Make sure you try and squish any bees. Cool. So this box is full of comb. I think it had honey in it. I've capped it. I've extracted the honey, and now you've just got wax. So that's all it is. Don't worry about any bald patches like here. The bees will draw that out as the nectar comes in. So yeah, the bees are already starting to make their way up, so that's good. And there's a foundation frame as well, just in case they get really bored. It's not necessary, but you know, I like to keep them busy. So now we have all these bees. Best way of getting these guys out is just to tap them out. So I'm going to put it like that. Don't put it so it'll just fall on top. Move it ever so slightly to the side. You only need is a little ledge, and then you're just going to give it a sharp tap like that. And hopefully the majority of the bees will have come out. As you can see, the majority are there. There's still some more, so I'm just going to do a little tap. So I tap along that edge there, from this edge here. Just going to do a little tap. Tap, 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 tap. And turn it round, do the same again. Tap, 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 tap. And that is almost empty. I think there's 4 bees walking around, but that's really good. Okay, so if we can tap these 4 bees out. Yep, so the lid's now empty. So I'm going to go and deal with this comb. So unfortunate in this case, because this comb is relatively dry. It's got a bit of nectar in, but it's not a lot. So all I can do is just slide the hive tool underneath. And there we go. That's perfect for going and melting and turning into candles or more foundation or whatever the hell you want to do with it. So never throw away a wax. Wax, whether it looks nice and clean like this or dark and dirty, is always useful. So never throw wax away. It's the most precious commodity you can get from the bees. People think it's honey, but it's not. It's the wax. This takes much more time for the bees to create and 10 times more effort as well. So I'm just going to put these to the side and then stick them in my wax bucket. So I have a bucket full of wax. So every time I cut wax off like this, I stick it in a bucket. When that bucket's full, I take it home and I stick it in a steam wax melter. You can use a slow cooker. So I used to use a very old slow cooker that we didn't really care about anymore. So I used to use that for it, but now I just use steam extractor, and then I only use the slow cooker when I'm refining it even more for like soaps or hand balms or something along those lines. But for candles, yeah, that probably only needs 1 melt through that. It's really good. Right, let's take this back to the colony over there. So I don't know if you can see, but there's a little bit of nectar that's over here. Bit of kind of looks kind of like honey actually. It is flowing, so it's definitely nectar, but they've clearly gone through the stages of fanning it a little bit. So if you're doing this and it is particularly full of honey, it's going to get really sticky really fast. So I'd recommend having a bucket of water and like a sponge or something, or like a cloth, just to keep your fingers clean. Because the honey will get sticky on your hands and you'll spread honey everywhere, especially if you spread it onto the outside of the lid, because that will probably cause some sort of robbing on this colony. So it's always good to make sure that your hands are clean. Any honey that you spill, you either like slosh with a bit of water from the bucket and get rid of it, or you just try and keep it inside the colony. If there's any honey inside the lid, that's fine. The bees will clear that up inside here and they'll just put it in fresh cells. It's anything on the outside that you need to be careful of. But yeah, that was nice and easy. I hope it's easy for you guys if you're seeing this, because you've got to worry that you've got some comb in the lid. Just make sure that there's no bees in there. Make sure the queen is not in the comb. That's number 1. If there's a couple of bees milling about, it doesn't matter too much. Just make sure the queen's not in here. Take the comb out and then give it back to the bees. Make sure you give them a bit more space, because if they're going into the lid, that means that they need space. Right, but I think that's it. Right then. Thank you so much for watching my videos. I really appreciate it. If you like what you saw, I want to see more, or you want to see some of my long form videos where I go through each and every single one of my hives, and I did that through all of last year, and I will be doing it all this year, then please go onto my channel and have a look through my playlists. I would very much appreciate it if you hit the like button, and if you wanted to share it, amazing. Have an amazing day, and I hope to see you guys very soon. Bye bye.